Everyone mocked her blue eyes. Until the Korean Mafia made her Untouchable, Part 2. Last season, she walked into the luxurious halls of Gilded Lotus as just a server. Bullied, overlooked, mocked for the one thing that made her different, her striking blue eyes. But the night the Korean Mafia's most feared, and most desired, leader chose her, everything changed. He saw what no one else did. He wanted what no one else could have. And now, he refuses to let her go. Her trembling hands, his cold stare softening, the way he said, "Serve me, and only me." But happily ever after? The scene glitches, darkens. Oh no, that was only the beginning. Shadows moving behind tinted windows. A gun being clipped into a holster. Her blue eyes reflecting fear and longing. His jaw tightening as he says, "You're in danger because of me. Enemies have taken notice." His rivals want her gone. Her co-workers want her downfall. And the man who swore to protect her is hiding a secret that could destroy them both. A single breath. A single heartbeat. A single whisper. "Stay close to me. This time I won't let anyone touch you." Get ready. In Part 2, the romance gets deeper. The danger gets darker. And the bond between them becomes something no mafia rule can break. The rain hadn't stopped since the night he chose her. Every drop that slid down the windows of Gilded Lotus felt like a reminder. Her life had shifted, permanently. The staff rooms smelled of detergent and leftover incense from the night's closing rituals. She clocked in early, too early, hoping to avoid the stares, the whispers, the envy that followed her now like a scent. But the moment she stepped into the hallway, the atmosphere changed. Silence. Sure. Purposeful. Co-workers who used to smirk openly now froze at the sight of her. Some lowered their heads, pretending to mop floors they'd already cleaned. Others pretended to rearrange cutlery, eyes cutting sideways when they thought she wasn't looking. She had seen fear before, but never directed at her. Not until he chose her. She straightened her uniform, refusing to shrink. Her blue eyes, once mocked, glowed in the soft lighting. She walked through the restaurant with her usual grace, pushing past the sensation that the walls themselves were listening. She didn't get far. "Teacher's pet coming through," one of the hostesses muttered under her breath. But the tone was different now, less bold, more bitter. Fearful. The woman avoided eye contact. Good. She had survived too much to fold now. Still, she couldn't stop thinking about what he said last night. "Someone here is working with my enemies. And they know about you." Her stomach tightened. She pushed into the dining area, still dim from early prep. Despite the hour, a sleek black car sat outside the tinted windows, engine running. She felt a shiver slide down her spine. Was it watching her? Or protecting her? Before she could decide, the double doors to the private lounge opened. And he stepped in. Wearing an all-black suit that clung to him like shadows, he looked like he owned every molecule of air in the room. His hair was swept back, revealing the bruise along his jaw, fading but visible. A reminder that danger had brushed against him just hours ago. He didn't announce himself. He didn't need to. The restaurant shifted around him. Cooks straightened. Hostesses froze. Managers bowed instinctively. And then he saw her. Everything else fell away. "Early," he murmured, stepping closer. Her heart thudded. Couldn't sleep. He nodded once, reading the truth beneath her voice. "Good. I wanted to see you before the restaurant opened." He stopped in front of her, lowering his voice. "There's something you need to know." Her breath hitched. "There was an attack last night," he continued. "Not on me, on one of my men. Outside this restaurant." Her blood went cold. "Because of me?" "No." His jaw tightened. "Because of us." The floor seemed to tilt. Before she could respond, footsteps approached from behind the kitchen doors. He immediately shifted, placing his body between hers and whoever was coming. His hand pressed gently but firmly against her back. Protecting. Shielding. The sous chef walked through, eyes widening at the sight of the two of them standing so close. A strange flicker passed through his face. Surprise? Disapproval? Guilt? Whatever it was, he dropped his gaze and scurried away. The mafia leader waited until the man was gone before he turned back to her. "See that?" he murmured. "Guilt gives people away before danger does." Her pulse raced. "Are you saying someone here is trying to hurt me?" "I'm saying someone here gave information to my enemies," he said softly, "and that makes you a target." She sucked in a sharp breath. He leaned closer, voice dropping to a whisper meant for her alone. "You will not walk alone." Pause. "You will not talk to anyone you don't trust." Another pause. "And today, you serve no one except me." Her breath caught. The intensity in his eyes softened, but only for her. You're under my protection now, he said. Officially. Before she could process that, her manager rushed into the room. Sir. We didn't expect you this early. He didn't even glance at the man. She works only with me today, the Mafia leader said coolly. The manager bowed so fast he nearly lost his balance. Why yes. Of course. The Mafia leader turned back to her, the tiniest smile ghosting across his lips. Don't look so worried, he whispered. If anyone here dares to mistreat you. His eyes flashed with lethal promise. I'll make sure their last mistake is wishing they hadn't. Her breath trembled, her hands shook. But for the first time not from fear. From the dangerous warmth spreading through her chest. Protection. Attention. Possession. And somewhere deep inside, passion she couldn't admit. She swallowed hard as he stepped back, giving her a brief once-over before heading to his private suite. But before he disappeared behind the doors, he looked over his shoulder. Right at her. Come to me when you're ready, he said. No rush. He smirked slightly. I know you'll come. The door closed. Her heart didn't. What she didn't see. Behind the bar, a pair of eyes watched her. Flat. Jealous. Calculating. And when the watchers slipped a phone from their apron, their message was short. She's here. Alone. Just like you wanted. Morning slowly bloomed inside Gilded Lotus, golden light spilling across crystal tables and polished floors. But despite the elegance, something felt wrong. Too still. Too quiet. She stepped onto the floor with a tray pressed to her hip, instinctively straightening her uniform. Her thoughts drifted to him. His warning, his vow, the bruise on his jaw that whispered danger. But she didn't expect danger to arrive so soon. Not today. Not this early. Yet the restaurant felt watched. She tried to shake off the feeling and move toward the private suite where he always waited for her now. The double doors gleamed, guarded by two stoic men in black suits. His men. Miss, one said politely. He's expecting you. She swallowed nervously. She shouldn't feel flustered. She shouldn't feel special. But she did. She pushed open the doors. And froze. He was already inside, sitting with an air of icy command. His fingers tapped lightly on the table, but his eyes, those cold, dangerous eyes, lit up the moment they found hers. You're late, he said softly. Her heart fluttered. It's 8:03. I said late. His voice dipped into a teasing edge that made her cheeks warm. But before she could respond, the door burst open behind her. A hostess stumbled in, face pale, hands shaking. Sir, she gasped. There's a problem outside. His jaw snapped into sharp focus. Speak. T2 men, they're asking for her. The hostess pointed at the server. They said she was supposed to meet them. Everything inside her went cold. I don't know who they are, the hostess stammered. They said they've been watching her. That they need a word. Every muscle in the Mafia leader's body went rigid. He stood, slowly, deliberately. A storm gathering behind his eyes. Describe them, he demanded. The hostess swallowed. Dark jackets. Black boots. One has a scar across his nose. His fists tightened. He knew exactly who they were. He turned to her, his voice suddenly soft, too calm. Stay here. But the moment he stepped past her to leave the room, she instinctively grabbed his wrist. Wait, she whispered. You said someone inside this restaurant betrayed. His gaze flickered. Not with annoyance. With fear. Fear for her. I'm not letting them touch you, he murmured. Her hand slid off as he walked out, leaving her with two bodyguards who immediately positioned themselves at her sides. But she couldn't sit still. Couldn't breathe. Through the crack in the door, she saw him step into the main lobby. His men appeared like shadows, closing in around him. The two strangers stood near the entrance, pretending to study the menu, but their eyes were sharp, too sharp. He approached them with lethal calm. Who sent you? He asked. The scarred man smirked. Relax. We just want the girl. Her breath hitched. One of his men reached for his gun. He silently lifted a hand, ordering them to wait. The scarred man leaned forward. Tell her we'll talk. Tonight. Midnight. At the pier. A threat. A trap. A message. The Mafia leader didn't blink. You won't get near her, he said. The man with the scar shrugged casually. Maybe. Maybe not. His eyes slid to the private suite where she hid. But people with pretty blue eyes are easy to spot. She felt her stomach fold into itself. That line. That taunt. Sent the Mafia leader's temper snapping like a blade. He grabbed the man by his collar and slammed him against the wall so hard the chandeliers rattled. You mention her again, he growled, and I'll make sure you never speak again. The man only chuckled. You can't protect her forever. Within seconds, the Mafia leader's men pulled the two intruders out of the restaurant. But the scarred man yelled one last thing as he was dragged away. We know who she is now. We'll find her. She recoiled, heart pounding. When the restaurant doors finally crashed shut, silence swallowed the room. Moments later, he returned to the suite. His steps were sharp. His shoulders tense. His breathing controlled, barely. He closed the door behind them. And for the first time since she met him, he looked shaken. She stepped toward him carefully. What did they want? She whispered. He didn't answer at first. He rubbed a hand over his jaw, eyes fixed on the floor as if trying to keep his fury contained. Then he lifted his gaze. They wanted to scare you, he said quietly. They wanted me to know they can get close. Are you saying? Yes. He stepped closer. They're coming for you. Her breath trembled. I didn't do anything. I know. His voice softened, deep, warm, grounding. That's why I'm angry. They shouldn't be anywhere near you. A long pause filled the space. He finally took her hands in his, surprising them both. I'm putting protection on you, he said. No arguments. But that will make people look at me even more. They can look, he whispered. They can hate. His thumb brushed her knuckles. But no one touches you. A shiver ran down her spine, not just from fear but from something much deeper. His eyes softened in a way that stole her breath. I told you, he whispered, bending slightly toward her. You're under my protection. His forehead nearly touched hers. And as long as I'm alive, no one takes you from me. But outside the suite, unseen by either of them, her jealous coworker stood with a phone in hand, sending another message. She panicked. He grabbed the intruder. Keep pushing. She'll crack soon. The war for her had only just begun. The rest of the morning crawled by in uneasy silence. Every clink of silverware, every whisper behind her back, every soft shuffle of footsteps made her chest grow tighter. She moved through the restaurant like a ghost, hyper-aware of every stare. Some were pity. Some were fear. But one pair was something darker. A hostess named Sujin, the one who always hated her the most, watched her with eyes like poisoned glass. Jealousy bled from her posture, from the sharpness in her smile, from the way she bit her lip whenever the Mafia leader passed by. Sujin was the kind of woman the restaurant adored, pale, delicate, whispering soft Korean phrases to customers like she was born for luxury. But now, even she struggled to hide the storm brewing inside her. Because the Mafia leader didn't look at her. Not once. Not anymore. He only looked at the woman with blue eyes. And that drove Sujin mad. During lunch rush, Sujin approached her while she was polishing glasses behind the bar. You know, Sujin whispered, leaning closer, being chosen by him doesn't mean you're safe. She stiffened. I'm not interested in this conversation. Sujin giggled, a pretty sound with a bitter core. Relax. I'm just trying to help. I heard things today. Her voice dropped. Dangerous things. Her heart skipped. What kind of things? Sujin's smile grew sharper. The kind of things girls like you don't survive. Something inside her snapped. You don't know anything about me, she said quietly. Oh, but I do. Sujin leaned even closer, eyes narrowing. You think he cares about you? You think you're special? He's using you to make someone jealous, probably another Mafia heiress he actually wants. A crack formed inside her chest. No, he wouldn't do that, would he? Before she could answer, Sujin slid a folded note onto the counter. Here. Someone left this for you. She hesitated. But curiosity and fear won. She unfolded the note. Meet me behind the restaurant. No. Urgent. Her blood chilled. The handwriting was unfamiliar. Slanted. Harsh. From who? She asked, voice tight. Sujin shrugged. No idea. But they said it was important. Something about what happened this morning. Everything inside her screamed, don't go. But what if it was information about the two men who threatened her? What if it was someone loyal to him trying to help? What if this was the clue she needed? She stepped backward. Sujin smirked, but hid it quickly. She slipped out the back door into the alley behind the restaurant. Cold air slapped her skin. The alley was empty. So, too still. Hello? She called out. Nothing. A prickling unease crawled up her spine. She turned back toward the door, but it slammed shut. Locked. Her heartbeat hammered painfully. She reached for the handle, pulled, nothing. What is this? She breathed. A shadow moved behind a dumpster just barely. Her breath caught. She took a step back, and a hand clamped over her mouth. She screamed into the palm, muffled and useless. Quiet, a low voice hissed in her ear. You make too much noise and this gets worse. Her panic exploded. She struggled, fought, kicked. He tightened his grip. Relax, the man snarled, dragging her further into the alley. We're not going to hurt you, yet. Her vision blurred with terror. She twisted, bit down on his hand hard enough to taste blood. He yelped but didn't let go. Another man stepped out from behind the dumpster, the scarred one from earlier. His grin was a knife. Pretty blue eyes, he taunted. Told you we'd find you. Her knees buckled. This was a trap. A setup. A message. Sujin, a sickening realization hit. Knew. She's not screaming for help, the scarred man mocked. Interesting. Maybe she likes danger. You're insane, she choked out as the other man finally loosened his grip. He laughed. Insane? No. But I do take orders. And my boss wants a message delivered. He grabbed her chin, forcing her to look up. You stay near that Mafia prince, and the next time we grab you we won't talk first. Her tears stung her skin from fear and humiliation. And tell him this. The scarred man leaned closer. The mole he's looking for is closer than he thinks. Then they pushed her away and disappeared into the shadows, leaving her shaking, breathless, and barely able to stand. She stumbled to the back door, still locked. She banged on it, voice breaking. Please, somebody, open? The door finally swung open, and she collapsed into a pair of arms she recognized instantly. Strong, warm, protective. His arms. He held her so tightly she could barely breathe. What happened? He growled, looking her over. Who touched you? Tell me. But she couldn't speak. The words tangled in her throat. His jaw clenched with a fury that shook him. You're shaking, he whispered, pulling her closer. His voice dropped to something terrifyingly soft. Whoever did this, I will find them. But she wasn't looking at his eyes. She was looking past him, straight at Sujin standing behind him. Arms crossed, face blank. But her eyes, those eyes, sparked with satisfaction before she quickly masked it. Her voice finally broke. I think I walked into a trap. His expression darkened, eyes narrowing into something murderous. And behind him, Sujin smiled. Just for a second, before turning away. The war inside the restaurant had officially begun. She didn't remember walking back inside the restaurant. All she remembered was his hands, firm, steadying, warm, guiding her through the corridors while her legs trembled beneath her. Her breath shivered with every inhale, and her mind replayed the alley over and over. The hand over her mouth. The scarred man's grin. Sujin's satisfied eyes watching everything unfold. Inside the private suite, he closed the door with a slam that rattled the entire hallway. Then he rounded on his men, voice low and deadly. Who was watching the back in trance? Silence. One of the guards swallowed. We rotated shifts. Rotations don't matter, he snapped. Someone opened that back door for those men. Someone helped them. Her chest tightened. He knew. She knew. But neither of them said Sujin's name yet. He finally turned to her, and the fury on his face melted into something gentle. Too gentle for a man with blood on his hands. You're safe now, he said. But she didn't feel safe. She felt exposed. Targeted. Hunted. Her voice cracked. They were waiting for me, they said. He stepped toward her instantly, the air between them snapping with tension. Don't repeat their words, he said softly. Don't give their threats power. She swallowed hard, eyes burning. But they knew me. They knew what I looked like. They knew where to find me. Her voice shook. They knew I'd be alone. His jaw clenched so tightly a muscle near his ear twitched. You weren't supposed to be alone, he whispered. I told you to stay inside. I told you not to walk anywhere by yourself. Her throat closed. She didn't want to tell him. She didn't want to admit she was tricked. But he saw the guilt anyway. His voice softened. What happened? Pause. Who gave you the note? Her eyes flicked to the floor. He followed her gaze. His expression sharpened, reading the truth from her silence. Sujin, he said. She inhaled sharply. He stepped back, anger rising again, hotter, more focused. She's been trying to insert herself into my world for months, he muttered. She thinks her father's connections mean something. But this. His eyes burned. This crossed every line. A guard approached, bowing his head. Boss. What are your orders? He didn't hesitate. Bring extra men. 2 will be assigned to her at all times, starting now. Her eyes flew wide. Wait, no, that's too much. He turned to her slowly. Too much. His voice was both cold and tender. They put their hands on you. They threatened you. They said your eyes make you easy to find. His tone dropped to a dangerous whisper. If anything happened to you, his chest rose sharply. I wouldn't survive it. Something warm and terrifying curled in her stomach. She looked away, overwhelmed. But people will stare more, she murmured. They already think I'm chosen, he asked. Protected? Untouchable? He stepped close enough that his breath grazed her cheek. Let them think that. Her heart skipped painfully. He held her gaze for long seconds before turning to his men. She's not to be left alone. Not for a second. Anyone tries to get near her, you deal with them before I do. The guards nodded firmly. One more thing, he added. No one speaks to her without my approval. She stiffened. That's controlling. He turned to her again. No, that's necessary. His voice softened into something dangerously intimate. You're not just a server anymore. Her breath caught. You're under my protection, he said. And that comes with rules. She opened her mouth to protest, but the words never came, because his hand gently lifted her chin. I need you to trust me, he whispered, even when it feels like I'm taking too much control. His thumb brushed her jaw, slow and deliberate. I'm only doing it because I refuse to lose you. The room thickened with heat, fear, longing, tension, until she couldn't breathe. Someone cleared their throat at the door. The manager. Sir. Sujin is asking to speak with you. Her stomach dropped. Of course she was. His eyes turned to ice. No. The manager blinked. She said it's urgent. She can wait, he said coldly. Or she can leave. Pause. Permanently. Shock rippled through the staff outside. Her eyes widened. You'd fire her? He looked at her like the answer was obvious. She set you up. His voice hardened. That makes her disposable. Tension crawled up her spine. She didn't want to protect Sujin, but she didn't want blood spilled either. He stepped closer, lowering his voice so only she could hear. Tonight, he murmured, you're coming with me. Somewhere safe. Where? Somewhere no one can find you. Her breath hitched. And tomorrow, he added, I deal with Sujin. His fingers trailed down her arm, a touch so gentle she nearly shivered. You'll sleep where I can watch over you, he said quietly. I won't let the night take you from me. Her pulse pounded wildly. In that moment she realized, she wasn't just part of his world now. She was at the center of it. And the storm was only getting started. The rain had begun again, fine, misty sheets drifting across the windows of the Black Dragon Lounge, turning the neon lights outside into smeared ribbons of red and blue. It was close to midnight, yet the private lounge was alive with low music, warm lighting, the scent of sandalwood, and the hum of quiet conversations between high-class patrons and silent bodyguards. Adele's hands trembled, not enough for anyone to see, but enough that she felt every pulse of her heartbeat echoing in her fingertips. This was the place Min-jae told her to meet him, the place his enemies never dared enter. A sanctuary, or a trap. She stepped inside. Instantly, every pair of eyes turned to her. A beautiful black woman with blue luminescent eyes, bold, regal, and absolutely out of place among the jade-clad socialites and powerful men who whispered behind their glasses of aged whiskey. If anyone else had walked in, they might have been ignored. But her? She was impossible to overlook. A ripple of murmurs followed her as she walked deeper into the lounge. Is that her? The foreign woman with the eyes. The one the boss prefers? Adele kept her chin lifted, though the weight of their stares pressed heavy on her shoulders. Then she saw him. Min-jae sat in a private booth in the back, one arm resting on the black leather seat, his posture relaxed but his gaze sharp as a blade. He was dressed in a fitted black shirt, sleeves rolled up to his forearms, jawline carved by shadows, eyes burning with something she couldn't read from afar. Something between desire and warning. Yunseo stood beside him at attention, but moved aside the second Adele approached. Adele, Min-jae said, voice warm enough to melt steel. Come sit. She did, but cautiously, leaving a sliver of distance between them. He noticed. Of course he noticed. His eyes lowered to her hands. You're shaking. She tucked her hands beneath the table. You didn't tell me where you were bringing me. That's because I needed privacy, he said softly. And because what I'm about to tell you is not something anyone else should hear. Her breath hitched. This was the moment. The truth he'd been hiding since the beginning. The truth that had chased her into danger. Min-jae, she whispered. Just tell me why I'm being followed. Why people are suddenly targeting me. Why my eyes matter. His jaw tightened. He leaned in closer, close enough that she could smell his cologne, warm cedar and smoke, and lowered his voice so only she could hear. It started before I ever met you, he murmured. Long before that night in the restaurant. Adele frowned. What do you mean? He exhaled heavily, like a man admitting something he'd avoided his entire life. Your eye color is rare, he began. But in Korea, it's not just rare. It's a symbol. A symbol of what? An ancient mark, he said. A lineage tied to an African-Korean diplomatic family from decades ago, whose ties to the underground world were powerful, dangerous. Adele blinked. What? My family was never involved in anything like. I know, Min-jae cut in. I know you weren't raised in this world. But your mother, she left something behind. Something people want. Something they think you inherited. Her heart slammed painfully in her chest. But why me? She whispered. Why not someone else in my family? His eyes darkened, turning almost stormy. Because you're the last one. Silence crushed the air between them. Adele's throat tightened, her voice breaking. So, the attacks, the warning notes, the shadows following me home, those were because of something my mother did? She didn't do anything wrong, Min-jae said fiercely. She just knew too much. And several someones think you know it too. Adele dropped her gaze, feeling a heavy swirl of grief, fear, and confusion in her chest. My whole life, I was judged for my eyes, she whispered. Mocked, bullied. Now suddenly they're a curse in a completely different way. They're not a curse, Min-jae said quietly. His hand moved across the table slowly, not touching her, but close enough to ask permission. They're the reason I saw you, he continued. The reason I couldn't look away. The reason you're not invisible in a world that wants everyone silent. Her breath trembled. She didn't pull her hand away when his fingers brushed hers. She didn't pull away at all. But reality hit her like a bullet. So, what happens now? She asked. What am I supposed to do? Just hide. Not hide, Min-jae said, voice low and protective. Stay close to me. That's all. And if I don't want to live in the shadows of the Mafia? Min-jae smiled a small, sad smile. Then I'll drag the shadows out of your way. Their fingers intertwined slowly, naturally. And for a moment, just one, they breathed together in quiet understanding. But before that moment could bloom into something more, gunshots cracked outside the lounge. 3. Sure. Close. Yin-seo rushed forward. Min-jae grabbed Adele's wrist and pulled her against him. The lounge lights flickered. The noise grew louder. Someone had found her. Someone had come for her. And this time, they weren't hiding in the shadows. The city slept uneasily that night. Rain-slick streets reflected neon signs that flickered like omens. Somewhere in the distance, sirens wailed, but Adele didn't hear them. Not really. She only felt the tension pressing against her like a physical weight. Min-jae had brought her to his private penthouse. Safe, hidden, protected, or so she hoped. The doors were triple-locked, guards posted every 20 feet, cameras sweeping every hallway. But even in this fortress, she could feel the threat creeping closer, inching through the city's veins toward her. She paced near the tall windows, watching rain streak down the glass. Every shadow in the street below seemed alive, every passing car a potential enemy. Then he entered, Min-jae, dressed in black from head to toe, eyes stormy, jaw clenched tight enough she could see the tension in his neck. He didn't smile. Not yet. They took her, he muttered. Not her. Someone. Her heart jumped. Who? He spun to face her, fists clenched at his sides. Soo-jin. She's working with Kang Min-soo, the rival family. She tipped them off, planned the alley trap, probably the lounge attack too. Adele's stomach dropped. Her own co-worker had betrayed her. All the teasing, the jealousy, the snide remarks, they'd been a setup. Why? She whispered. Power, he said flatly. She wants my position in the family. She thinks removing you removes my attention. She thinks she can take control. His voice cracked just slightly, the fury barely contained. Adele's hand shook. And you can stop her? He walked closer, slowly, deliberately, like a predator circling prey. I will, he said softly. But it's bigger than her. Min-soo is escalating. He wants to claim me, and by extension you. That's why they're coming for you. For us. Her pulse raced. She wanted to run. But she knew running wouldn't save her. Not from him. Not from them. He stepped right up to her, letting the storm in his eyes meet hers. I won't let anyone take you, he whispered. I don't care if the whole city is against me. They will answer to me first. And if they survive, then maybe they'll answer to me again. A tremor ran through her chest, something dangerous, something she couldn't quite name. Protection, power, desire, all wrapped into one suffocating moment. Suddenly his phone vibrated. He glanced at it. His expression darkened further. Warehouse at the docks, he muttered. Min-soo is moving goods. Weapons. Probably using it to send a message, and to bait me. Her eyes widened. You're going? He didn't hesitate. You're coming with me. I will not leave you behind. The ride to the docks was silent. The black luxury car hugged the curves of the highway as if it belonged to the shadows themselves. Adele sat rigid in the passenger seat, hands clasped tightly in her lap, while Minjae's eyes never left the road. Finally they arrived. The warehouse loomed like a fortress, dimly lit from within, shadows stretching like long claws. Minjae parked and turned to her. Stay here. Wait for my signal. If anything happens, hide. And trust me. She nodded, her pulse thundering in her ears. They stepped inside. The smell hit her first, oil, iron, and danger. Minjae's men fanned out. She could feel the tension radiating from him like electricity. Every step, every move, precise. Then the rival family appeared almost casually in the flickering warehouse light. Missa. Smooth, dangerous, smirking. Behind him, men with guns and knives, their eyes glittering with malice. You brought the girl, Minsu said smoothly. I hope she'd be brave enough. She's not a pawn, Minjae replied, voice icy. She's my choice. And you won't touch her. The words barely left his lips when chaos erupted. Bullets shattered wood. Men screamed. Sparks flew as shadows collided with steel. Minjae moved like a storm, every punch, every strike precise and lethal. Adele ducked instinctively behind crates, her breath ragged. She could hear Minsu laughing, taunting from the shadows. Her instincts flared, the blue eyes. They saw patterns before they happened. Movement in the dark. She ducked a flying plank, rolled, avoided the path of a swinging metal chain. Her survival instincts, her mother's legacy, had awakened fully. Minjae's voice cut through the chaos. Adele, stay close. She ran to him. He caught her wrist and pulled her behind a reinforced wall, chest pressing against hers. The storm of danger passed around them, but it was not yet over. When the dust settled, bodies lay scattered. The rival men retreated into the night, leaving only one behind, Minsu, smirking, a promise in his eyes. This isn't over, he said. Your eyes, your life. I'll come for both. And next time there won't be a warning. He vanished into the darkness. Adele clung to Minjae, chest pressed to his, heart hammering. I can't, she whispered. He silenced her with a finger to her lips. Shoo, you survived. That's all that matters. And now they know we're not afraid. They'll think twice before coming again. She lifted her head, looking into his stormy eyes. I don't want to be afraid. You won't be, he said firmly. Not while I'm here. The rain outside beat against the warehouse windows, loud and relentless. Inside, their hearts pounded together, two warriors against a world that wanted to tear them apart. And for the first time, Adele realized, the war wasn't just outside. It was inside them too. The battle for trust. The battle for power. The battle for love. The night sky above Seoul was a violent swirl of rain and neon reflections, the city alive with a pulse that mirrored her own racing heart. Adele clutched her coat tighter as she followed Minjae into the abandoned dockyard, the same place where Minsu had ambushed them before. But this time, she wasn't just running. She was ready. They paused behind a stack of shipping containers. Minjae's eyes scanned the shadows, calculating, precise. His hand found hers and held it tight, reassuring, protective, intimate. They're expecting me, he muttered. But they won't expect you to be ready this time. Her pulse quickened. She swallowed her fear and nodded. I'm ready. For the first time, she wasn't hiding behind him. She was standing beside him. A metallic scrape echoed across the yard. Figures emerged from the shadows. Minsu and his men, grinning like predators. Did you bring your little toy? Minsu jeered. She doesn't belong in this world. Minjae stepped forward, his black suit blending with the night. She belongs with me, he said. And if you touch her, you die. A tense silence fell. Then chaos erupted. Bullets shattered crates. Shadows flitted across the wet concrete. But Adele didn't duck. She moved with fluid precision, every instinct from the alley attack, the lounge ambush, and the previous nights sharpening her. She dodged a swinging chain, grabbed a fallen weapon, and disarmed one of Minsu's men with a decisive strike. Minjae moved like a storm beside her. Every punch, every kick, every calculated strike cleared a path for her. Their movements synchronized as if they'd been dancing together for years, not just weeks. The final standoff came at the edge of the dock, where the water reflected the neon lights like a shattered mirror. Minsu and Minjae faced each other, weapons drawn. You think protecting her will save her? Minsu sneered. You're weak. You always have been. Minjae's eyes